whatever the first settlement was there on the Chesapeake. All of a sudden, I'm forgetting the name of it. The
Jamestown?
Jamestown. Yes, thank you,
Yep.
Jamestown. It was a total fucking nightmare,
It
disaster.
was.
Yeah.
So, and people, yes, turned to cannibalism as well.
Yeah.
So, like
Yeah.
all kinds of shit went down. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very
Right.
familiar story in a lot of ways.
So is that like, I
Right.
guess, like which fear? Because they were facing, right, when they left that original where they were from, they said they were starving there, too. So
Yeah.
they had
Yeah.
tried to follow the herds, but like the herds didn't go. And so they ended up like not having any food. So like was the fear of starving there less than the fear of the unknown of going to, this new earth? Because at least there was some possibility of a hope of surviving or thriving or, finding something.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, like then another fear takes over, and that's where I wonder if like sometimes just like that, from a depressing standpoint, is the fear stronger than any kind of
Mm.
hope or positivity because then that
Right.
breaks down to saying like, okay, I'm not group anymore. Now it's every Stone Age person for themselves.
Right.
Yeah, our
Exactly.
ancestors, and the reason why we're alive right now is either because we're related to the ones who had hope even when things got hard and stuck together,
Hmm.
Hmm.
or is it because we're related to the ones who bashed each other's skulls in and
Right.
we're the
The
one that
strongest
survived.
one. Yeah.
Maybe again, this is
Right.
a combination sort of thing. Who
Yeah.
knows? But
Yeah. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. We had hope, but we would fight you too.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
that's
We'd still kill each other.
right, exactly. Right. So yeah, so they're trying to sacrifice Bea. There's a scuffle. Greer is knocked unconscious and Bea escapes. Odal instead uses Avi as a replacement sacrifice and stabs her. But she manages to break his ankle in the
That was
process.
gross too. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
it
was like,
was
oh, is
gross.
that what I think that is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it was very gross. Yeah.
And I was also thinking, like, man, you're in the Stone Age. You are so
Oh,
screwed. You break a
man.
bone, any bone.
I I just don't think I mean obviously I'm a wuss today by comparison, but sometimes when I watch these movies I'm like I wouldn't have lasted 2 minutes. Like I
Yeah, no way.
just I would
And
have
how
just been
like
like go
you
ahead
saw
and
like how
bury me.
dirty they were, like by the like it started off okay, clean, but then after that,
Man.
I was like, any cut you get is so
Yeah.
infected, and then you're dead.
It's
After
well,
like
amazing that we are where we are because it's
exactly.
just like
Yeah, because we're related to the people who made it somehow or
yeah, who
another,
got through the
yeah.
infections and the
Yeah,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
or
Didn't get
at
any
least made it
broken
till the
bones.
age of reproduction or whatever. So
right.
yeah.
Right.
Not much
Exactly.
after that, but.
Yeah.
Right. Right. All right. Yeah. So with the forest lit by the Northern Lights, which is a gorgeous scene. I mean,
Mhm.
this cinematography in this movie, like Marty already mentioned, is absolutely beautiful. Um, Odal watches the creature takes Avi's body. The next morning, Bea finds Greer, and they witness the creature killing Odal. They try to ambush it, pulling off what we find out is a mask. And so this is like the big twist of
Yeah.
this movie, right? The big reveal. They discover that it is a female Neanderthal and not a creature, although like she's wearing like this really cool creature looking mask. And I'm like, oh, how did she make that?
Something like out
Uh,
of Predator, right? It didn't look, that's what
yeah,
it reminded me of.
yeah,
And like even the scenes before that, like how she was
right.
dragging people or like snatching them,
Yes,
and stuff like that.
very predator-like.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So she runs off. They trail her to the mountains and find a cave where Bea believes the Neanderthal lives.
But
Okay, that's fair.
one of
Okay.
the big misunderstandings about Neanderthal was that, and this got portrayed in Quest for Fire, as I remember it for as a kid. The big idea at that time was that Homo sapiens did not interbreed at all with Neanderthal. They just wiped
Mm.
them out. And one of the major differences that they thought was between Neanderthal and Homo sapien was that Homo sapien was capable of symbolic behavior, symbolic
Well, sort of like
representation.
self-awareness too, like, some
Yeah,
kind
all
of,
that.
being able
Yeah.
to
And that
recreate
Neanderthal was just more
I
of an
am
animal
this.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. But the movie incorporated a lot of other type of art and culture that was a part of Neanderthal life. And part of what the little boy's speech is, which we'll talk about again, is just that
Yeah.
no, these were human beings. Like, and so one of the things that he mentions is burial. And that's like one of the first things that like really shocked people,
Mm.
that started to change people's minds. They found a Neanderthal burial site where their dead were laid, to rest in a kind and loving way, and a thoughtful way that seemed to even include like pollen from ancient flowers and stuff like that. So there was symbolic evidence of symbolic behavior. But since then, even more evidence of, yeah, beaded culture, and like they were human beings, like and
Well,
and so that was just this big thing that changed over time.
yeah. Well, and I think
Yeah.
they found actually Neanderthal DNA in modern humans now, like, or bits
Yeah.
of
Yes.
the
Well,
DNA
well, well,
for
yeah,
tapestry of stuff.
in mostly in not in none in sub-Saharan Africa. So nobody mixed with Neanderthal down there. Like, but like those that spread out north did, and even in China, all the way to China. But like, there's also another type of humanoid that was there that I can't
Yeah,
remember the
I'm trying to
name of
remember what
right
it
now
is.
that they intermixed
It's
with.
like
But
Normalis, maybe? I don't know. I have to
yeah,
look it
it
up.
wasn't, you're right. It wasn't until they actually sequenced the human DNA. And then there's this incredibly harrowing story that's just unbelievable science. Like, it's one of these really cool science stories. It was on PBS. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was about the dude who figured out how to get the mitochondrial DNA out of a Neanderthal sample.
Mm.
And then they sequenced it and realized that there's some people in Europe who have up to like 5 to 6%. And the average was like 3 to 4%, but like all of it Neanderthal DNA. And there's all this like speculation as to what is actually Neanderthal DNA. For example, red hair, super active immune systems, hyperactive immune systems, and other kinds of things that people think came from possibly from Neanderthal. But they also realized that the Neanderthal samples that they had, some of the early ones were of a crippled Neanderthal person. So they thought they were
Mm.
shorter and more boat-legged than they were. They were more stout, and they did have the pronounced brow and stuff like that. That's true, but like they didn't have enough good samples to realize that they were not super crouched over and boat-legged, and they thought they were almost apes at one point, but they weren't. They were, shorter, stouter, human beings.
Yeah. Okay. So when Bea enters the cave, she is attacked by a male Neanderthal who pins her to the ground, attempting to strangle her. And this is a very tense scene when she's getting strangled. Bea stabs him. He rolls off of her. Then Bea retrieves a wooden spear that she stole from Adam, the really cool kind of like white spear with all the markings on it. And she stabs the Neanderthal, seriously wounding him. She continues through the cave where she discovers Heron unharmed. Bea is confronted by the female Neanderthal. Greer, hearing Bea screams, finishes off the dying male Neanderthal and continues through the cave to find Bea. The female attacks Greer with a stone axe and kills him. And that's kind of sad because it's just like happens so fast. And then he just is like out for the count. And it's kind of like, oh, I thought they were gonna, like you said, Andrew, I thought they were gonna be together. But no. So the female threatens Bea, but Bea manages to set this fur bed on fire and creates this big fire within the cave, which looks really cool. Like, I don't know, like if it was real fire or CGI fire or not, I don't know, but that fire in that cave looks really cool. Um, so she escapes. Bea escapes with Heron through a very small vertical opening in the cave, and the female tries to escape also, but she gets stuck at the top. Heron comes and tries to save her, but Bea kills her with a rock. And it's crazy because I thought, like, when I first saw this movie, and you see Heron struggling to get the female Neanderthal out of the cave, and then you see Bea come up. I'm like, oh, she's gonna help. No, she's not having any parts of it. She's like, hell no. She tells Heron that Neanderthals are monsters who killed the members of their group. Heron disagrees. He says they are like us, implying that they fed him and protected him. So, Marty, I think this was a little bit of what you were just saying, um, how the little 11-year-old is saying, no, they're more like us than what you realize. And the film ends with Bea detailing their story. So now she is telling a story, and I like how the movie is bookended by these stories, right? So she's telling their story. She seems to regret killing the Neanderthal, stating they were just people as terrified of the unknown as her group. Huron shows Bea Avi's body laid out in the cave, which has been prepared for a funeral by the Neanderthals. And Marty, I know you were just mentioning that too. The two of them bury the rest of the dead. Bea continues her story and states, she and the boy learn to survive, the first of a new people. Heron asks, what do we do now? And Bea simply says, we try again.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the original title of this movie, the working title or whatever, was actually The Origin.
Yeah, I like
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
that.
know that. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
yeah.
I thought that
So
was cool.
I
Yeah.
think there was a lot to be said for like sort of that what we've been talking about here too. Like, so okay, they're starting over, right? But so is part of this that um he's sort of gaining that awareness. Like, so she, kills the Neanderthal and
Mhm.
um then feels bad about it. So that's
Yeah,
sort of that evolution, right? Of like, okay, yeah, we're violent, but at least I'm sort of figuring out that there is this thing called
right,
like that
right.
is like us or whatever. There's a category that's like us, and maybe I should, not just immediately kill first,
Chill
but
out a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
just chill out a little bit, um, and sort of. But like, I think you're right. Like in terms of the starting from, like that all these like societies or whatever, they have this
Hmm.
inherent need to just beat the shit out of each other and kill each
Right.
other.
Exactly.
Well, you
Right.
wonder if it's only the two of them too. I mean, you would assume that they would have to mix with the Neanderthals that are already there because they only killed two. I mean, and they were clearly had a society. So, maybe
And they
that
didn't
was the
have a child
case.
themselves or something, like
Yeah,
because
right,
they got
exactly.
the 11-year-old.
Yeah, which was a weird, explanation to me. If I understood it correctly, the 11-year-old was saying like she took me because she saw that you guys couldn't take care of me, basically, or something
That's what
like
he
that.
said. Yeah, that's what he said. But you got to remember, he's an 11-year-old, because that's just another mouth they have to feed, right? So that doesn't really, I don't know. It,
And
it
it's not
is,
their genes,
I
right?
guess I
So
didn't understand
yeah.
that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too.
I don't know.
That's sort of like, yeah, that would be very much against biological anthropology. That you would take something that was, not, going to pass on your genes and care for it. So there's a real trade-off being made that we're not just these pure biological, prediction machines that just want to reduce uncertainty and
Mhm.
and produce and like all of our decisions are about evolutionary advantage or just advantage in general, for survival reproduction. So we make decisions that are not that seem to be outside of that. And so certainly the idea that a Neanderthal would come and kidnap a kid so that they could take care of it because it was sick, which is what's presented, would be outside of any kind of pure biological need. Unless, Andrea, you saying that passing on the genes, or no, that was you, Charlotte, said passing on the genes.
Yeah,
You thinking
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was gonna say. I don't know. That was just a stab in the dark because I don't understand why they would take him in. But to go back, I kind of wanted to go back to what you were saying about the older people I think there is a line in this movie where Adam does say to Odell, like, you will be the first, basically, like, to
right.
get kicked out or whatever. Um, and Odell says, well, I'm a good tracker. Like he had to
Right.
almost sell himself because I think he does know, like, I am the, weakest link here. Me and the pregnant lady over here. So yeah, like I feel like,
Well,
that,
he calls himself something like, isn't there like to your point, Charlotte, there's like a there's a scene where he's actually talking to Bea and saying
Yeah.
like, okay, well here, we got Adam's the
Yes.
whatever.
Yes. That's what it was. Yeah.
Then, what's her face is carrying life.
Right.
And he's back up. And then I think he says something about he is wisdom, and
He's
so
wisdom.
he's
Yeah.
like, and I thought that was sort of an interesting thing, like an evolution of like when, and maybe that's something that's so early in, our
Hmm.
evolution of valuing elders for wisdom, that's actually something that's not it's not something tangible necessarily, but like kind of
Hmm.
goes back to that, like how early were we telling stories? How early, because
Right.
the storytellers had to be the ones that had the wisdom because they would remember,
Exactly.
all that stuff
Right.
and know like, what was happening. So maybe there was some value placed on being older,
Hmm.
because you survived, right? So you were smart enough, and I think that Odell's character was sort of not just the wisdom or the elder. He was also sort of the wily
Yes.
character, or
Yeah.
like sort of that mischievous whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there was some evaluation of saying, yep, you made it to old age. Hurrah. That's an amazing feat for somebody of ours. Miss me, you have something of value, there too. And then wanting to
Right.
pass it along. So not in like a procreation way, but like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
say, okay, you hold this wisdom. Um,
We'll
you
keep
know,
you
we'll
around,
keep
tell
you
us some
around.
stories.
Yes. Whereas the stray, like had supposedly no value, even though she was the total badass, and I disagreed with
Yeah, and I think
the assessment.
I think that I love that point in this movie is the one that they were so quickly to discount at the beginning was the one who ended up surviving, right? Yeah.
So who is the
Um,
monster, I guess, in this, whole thing? Like when they were
yeah.
talking about like who's the
Yeah.
monster at the
Right.
end.
Exactly. Is it her? I think I don't know. I mean,
I
I
think
feel like a little bit. I think she's a little bit of a monster
mhm.
because she was just,
And she's
but
our mother.
Yeah.
right, right.
She's Eve.
She is.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But
Whoops.
yeah, it's like she was the monster, but she also was the savior,
Mhm.
So I don't know. I guess
I
you can
guess
be both of those things. Just a couple more fun facts. Principal photography took place during the COVID-19 lockdown in November of 2020 in Scotland. I thought that was very interesting. This film received multiple nominations at the British Independent Film Award. This is a British movie, including Best Debut Director for Andrew Cumming, Best Music, which I agree. This score
yeah.
is awesome. It is
It
so
was.
good.
It was.
Best hair and makeup, and best breakthrough actor for Safia Oakley Green, the actor who played Bea, and she did win that, and I think
Okay.
that was
Oh,
very
cool.
well deserved. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I also like this movie because as we talked about like the darkness and the forest and the creepiness of it all, I would liken this movie to a prehistoric Blair Witch Project.
Mm.
Like that's the kind of vibes I was getting where
Totally.
you
Getting
can't
lost in the
quite
forest,
make
they're
out.
making
Yeah.
circles. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they come
Yeah.
back on Adam's body because they had
Yeah.
been trying to get out and they come back on his body again. I mean, that was
Yeah.
straight
Yeah.
Blair Witch. Yeah.
Straight
Yeah.
Blair Witch, not being able to really see what's going on in the woods, in the forest is full on Blair Witch. So I love that. And the my last point is I listened to a podcast where anytime a woman does something like phenomenal, like solves a crime or does something like really badass, the host always says like let the women do the work. And that's exactly what this movie sung to me. Let the women do the work. Bea is doing
Mhm.
everything. She's
Let Bea do
mercy
the
killing.
murdering.
Let Bea do the work. Bea is doing everything. I put she's mercy killing Adam and serving him for dinner. And I was just like
It's like I'm gonna feed all you
she's
guys.
doing all of it. Just let Bea do it all. She's doing it all. So yeah,
Oh.
I enjoyed this movie so much and
I just one other little tiny point
yeah.
that I had read, like, and it struck me is, could you also see this movie as post apocalyptical, like in terms of, like
Oh
this, same
yeah.
thing could have been like after society, because I think since it came out originally, I think in Europe, right in
Yes.
2022, so right in the middle
Yes.
of like the shit was going down, like still
Right.
with the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I just kind of saw like that this easily could have also been, because you were saying, like as a Blair Witch Project, in the prehistoric times, but I think also like, maybe after
Yeah,
society has collapsed and they're trying again, to
right.
say, okay, we've gone backwards. I don't know. But
Yeah, that's a really good point, especially like you said, in the time period that it's taking place, like right after COVID, when we all thought the world could possibly end, you know?
right.
So, yeah, that's really interesting. All right. Well, Andrea, thank you once again for joining us.
Thanks for having me again, guys. I had a blast. Appreciate it.
Yay. All right. So please join us. Thank you for listening. And until we meet again, have a good week and take care of each other.